I couldn't believe what I saw when I pulled up to my ranch that morning. A massive oak tree, one of the oldest on my land, easily worth over $300,000, was lying in pieces. Chainsaw marks were fresh, and there was sawdust still in the wind. But it wasn't just the damage that left me speechless. It was who did it. My neighbor Karen had taken it upon herself to cut it down. No permission, no warning, just gone. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would anyone do that? Well, Karen claimed it was blocking her view and dropping leaves near her driveway. But here's the real kicker. It didn't even sit on her property. That tree stood a good 20 feet inside my fence line. But it gets crazier. Not only did Karen cut down my tree, but when a storm hit a few days later and the stump gave way, sending the rest of the root system crashing toward her brand new Tesla. She sued me. Yup, I got slapped with a lawsuit for damages. Now I'm stuck in a legal mess, trying to figure out how someone can destroy my property and still blame me when it backfires. But what happened next made everything way more complicated than I ever expected. Let me tell you how it all unfolded. So here's the thing. Karen moved in about 6 months ago. She bought the place next door, a modern glass and metal house that looks totally out of place in the middle of the countryside. From day one, she had something to say about everything. My fence was too rustic. My horses were too loud. And the trees, especially that oak, were ruining her aesthetic. But I never thought she'd actually take action. I figured it was just talk. Then boom. One morning, that giant oak was gone. She didn't even try to hide it. Said she hired someone because she thought it was on her land. But the property lines are crystal clear. I've got the original survey and markers still in the ground. She knew. I was already talking to my lawyer when the storm rolled through. Wind came in hard, and without that tree's deep roots holding the ground, the soil shifted fast. The edge of the hill collapsed, right onto Karen's driveway, and took out the front of her Tesla. The next morning, I got a notice on my gate. She was suing me for the damage. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how she turned this around on me. But the real twist, when I started digging into how she pulled all this off, I found something I definitely wasn't supposed to. After the lawsuit hit, I started getting more serious about gathering proof. I pulled up the old survey maps, took new drone footage of the property lines, even brought in a land expert to verify everything. There was zero doubt that oak tree was fully on my ranch. But as I was going through my security camera footage, I noticed something weird. Karen didn't just hire someone randomly. The guy she brought in to cut the tree, he's not a licensed arborist. He's actually her cousin, and he's got a record for property disputes. That's when it really started feeling off. Like this wasn't just a misunderstanding, it was planned. And once the lawsuit was in motion, Karen started acting even stranger. She'd pace near the fence line every evening, sometimes with a clipboard. She installed a bunch of new cameras facing my land. One morning, I caught her measuring my barn wall from her side, like she was preparing for another claim. Meanwhile, word got out in town. Some neighbors started telling me they had issues with her too. Noise complaints, false reports, even threatening letters about violations that didn't exist. It was like she was building a case against everyone. But it wasn't until I got a hold of a drone photo from 3 weeks before the tree was cut that everything started falling into place. Because in that photo, there was already a marker staked in the wrong place, planted deep into my side of the land. I knew that marker wasn't there by accident. It was bright orange, freshly hammered in, and positioned to make it look like the tree was right on the edge, or even over her line. That photo proved someone moved the boundary before the tree came down. And the timing? Way too perfect. It was placed just days before the chainsaws showed up. I handed everything over to my lawyer, but while the legal stuff was crawling forward, things on the ground kept getting weirder. One night, I heard movement near the tree stump. I grabbed a flashlight and went out there, and sure enough, someone had been digging near the roots. There were fresh boot prints in the dirt and a small shovel tossed to the side. I didn't see who it was, but something was clearly buried, or unburied. The next day, Karen acted like nothing happened. Waved at me, even complimented my dog. It felt fake. Too calm. Especially after I found out she'd filed for a restraining order claiming I was threatening her property. Meanwhile, my ranch insurance got flagged for revaluation because of unreported land changes. Turns out she'd been sending anonymous tips to them too. Now I'm in the middle of a lawsuit, my land's under investigation, and I'm starting to suspect this isn't just about a tree, it's about taking something way bigger. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I got a call from the county office. They said someone had submitted a request to redraw the property lines. Asterisk under my name asterisk. It was flagged because the signature didn't match. But still, someone actually tried to file a fake land adjustment. That's when it hit me. Karen wasn't just messing with me. She was trying to steal part of my ranch. I rushed down to the office and got a copy of the documents. The fake form had my name, my address, even my ranch registration number. But the handwriting was off, and the new map conveniently shifted the property line just enough to make that oak tree, and about 30 feet of land, fall into her side. It was sneaky, subtle, and would have worked if no one double-checked. I confronted Karen calmly, just asked her if she knew anything about it. She smiled and said, "Maybe it's just time for change around here." That's when I realized this wasn't just about the view or even the Tesla. She had plans. Big ones. Later that week, a real estate agent showed up asking if I'd consider selling. I said no, of course, but when I asked who sent him, he hesitated, then said he'd been hired by someone next door. That's when it all started clicking, and I knew this wasn't just a feud, it was a setup. The final straw came when I got served with a notice about a zoning violation. According to the report, part of my barn had been illegally extended onto Karen's property. I knew it was a lie. The barn had been there for over 20 years, but it forced an official inspection, and that meant another delay in my own lawsuit against her. But what Karen didn't know was that I'd already hired a private investigator. He'd been quietly collecting everything: security footage, voice recordings from neighbors, public records, and even drone logs. And when he handed me the final report, everything clicked into place. Karen had a history of doing this. In her last neighborhood, she'd filed multiple claims against neighbors, all revolving around land disputes. She'd bought the properties cheap, stirred up trouble, then sold and moved once things hit the courts. Armed with all the evidence, I filed a countersuit, not just for the tree and property damage, but for fraud, harassment, and attempted land theft. When the judge saw the altered documents and the investigator's findings, everything turned fast. Karen's lawsuit was thrown out, and she was ordered to pay damages and legal fees. But here's a twist I didn't see coming. While clearing out the area around the stump for replanting, the crew dug up a small, rusted metal box. Inside, a deed. An old one, signed by the original landowner, showing that the boundary actually extended even further into what is now Karen's yard. Turns out, I own more land than I thought. After everything, lawsuits, false claims, and the chaos over that $300,000 tree, it all came full circle with that old deed. Turns out, the oak wasn't just mine. So was a strip of land Karen had been treating like her own backyard. My lawyer filed an update with the county, and just like that, the new lines were official. Karen tried to fight it, but with all the evidence stacked against her, she ended up quietly putting her house on the market. Within a month, a for sale sign popped up, and by the end of the season she was gone. No goodbye, no wave, just gone. The Tesla, still parked in her old driveway when she left, half covered in a tarp, dents and all. I guess she figured it wasn't worth the fight anymore. Looking back, it's wild how something as simple as a tree could uncover a full-blown land scam. It reminded me how important it is to know your property rights, document everything, and never assume people have good intentions just because they smile. The oak's gone, but I've already planted 3 more in its place, and this time I marked the roots myself with bright red flags, just in case.